What is going on, YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just BSN podcast. And today, as always, I have with me my boy Andrew. And we finally got some good vibes going right now in Cleveland.
Oh,
It took a little while, but we're here. And the vibes are good. It is currently Halloween night. We are watching the worst Thursday night game I've ever seen in my entire life. But Cleveland's doing pretty good right now. So Andrew, how are we feeling? We obviously got a lot to talk about. So how you feeling right now?
dude, I feel fantastic, man. Just the fact that Cleveland sports has been going super well, at least for the last week. We've been
Yeah,
we've been having a fun time over here, so definitely can't complain on this beautiful Halloween night, even though the Thursday night game is absolute dog water. Um, and sorry if you hear me cough a lot because I'm a little
Every,
sick right now.
yeah.
There's some
Everybody's
stuff
getting
going
sick
on,
right now. Yeah.
but we're living. I've just finished a cough drop. We're living life, and I got me a nice little electrolyte to get some electrolytes in there.
Yes.
Dude, we're chilling. We're
Yes,
Jay chilling
sir.
right now.
Yes, sir. So yeah, man, we got a lot to talk about, and I was trying to sort of see kind of where I wanted us to start uh, for this podcast, and I decided we wanted to go with Browns. Obviously,
Yeah.
with the Cavs playing well, we'll end with that, and then we'll come back to Week 9 predicts. So we got to start with the highest of highs right now because we both picked the Browns to lose, and Mr. Jameis Winston came out and ate a literal dub for us, and had a fantastic game. I mean, literally, we predicted this had he played against Cincinnati,
Yeah.
and he did it against the Ravens. Now, granted, I do want to note before we start to talk about anything about this game, the Ravens defense was very beat up, and I do not want to discredit that. They had no starting corners, but their defense is still pretty solid. And Kyle Hamilton was all over the field last Sunday, all over the field. Every single time the ball was passed, he was there. But the Browns came away with a really good win. They
Yeah.
really played everything super well. This is the first time we've seen the offense look like an NFL offense, and it did because Jameis Winston threw for 334 yards, 2 touchdowns,
Three
actually
touchdowns.
three.
Yeah.
Two of them were to Cedric Tillman, who is a guy that I'm going to talk about here in a minute, and obviously a nice little ball to Chief. Just, dude, he played an outstanding game. Like, exactly the type of game that you wanted this offense to produce. And I hate to get into this so early, but I think this just kind of confirms what we've been saying for weeks. Watson was the problem. It was nobody else. And I don't want to get into the whole, oh, well, Stefanski didn't call plays. The offense didn't look that much different play call wise. I think
No. The
that
playbook
you
didn't change.
no, Ken Dorsey is just going to be, I think, a little bit more aggressive
Yeah.
than Stefanski is. So if that really is what the offense needed, then sure. But in terms of the actual play calls and like what you're seeing, it wasn't much of a different game plan. It was just executed better. The offensive line played so much better, and you had the best quarterback play we've had all season long.
Yep.
And this is what resulted. We scored 29 points. We were able to keep up with the Ravens, who, on offense, have been hot all season long.
Yeah, no, dude, the Ravens offense has looked so good all year. I mean, I think they started off kind of slow, but after like week 2, they've just been unstoppable. And the only thing that's really slowing them down this year has been their defense a little bit.
Yeah.
Because even when healthy, their defense has been kind of lackluster. Just look, they just don't have any middle linebackers anymore like they did. They got rid of Patrick Queen. He went to Pittsburgh, and they got rid of a couple guys, and they don't have a good linebacker core, but they still got a decent front seven and a good secondary. So, I mean, again, we can't really go too crazy because obviously, like we said, the defense was a little bit beat up for the Ravens. So, but we knew that this is the type of game that Winston would play. No matter if it was against Cincinnati, no matter if it against the Raiders, no matter if it was against the Giants, whoever we lost to along the way, if you inserted Jameis Winston in any of those games, like within like the first quarter, whatever, you probably win that ball game. And instead of being 2-6, you're probably sitting at like a 5-3 almost, and you're probably almost at the top of the AFC North right now.
Yeah.
So, like you said, this confirms what every Browns fan has been saying, every NFL media pundit has been saying. The problem wasn't the play calling. The problem wasn't the players themselves. The problem was Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was absolutely atrocious all season long. Insert new quarterback, throws for 330 yards, 3 touchdowns. Should have thrown a couple picks, obviously, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. That's the defense's fault for not making those picks. So I mean,
Exactly.
same with our defense. Our defense could have had 2 or 3 interceptions themselves and dropped them. So
Yeah.
I mean, it was evened out essentially. But
And that's why they play defense and not offense
yeah,
because they can't catch.
exactly. But the script flipped because these boys could catch this week, and the balls were a lot better. The balls were thrown really well, and I mean, again, if you started Jameis Winston all season, you're probably sitting above 500 in a playoff spot right now, and we're not even talking about tanking or whatnot. And
Yeah.
even still, and this confirmed what we said last week, you don't really have to tank at all.
No.
It's just finding a confident quarterback, maybe getting an offensive tackle to replace someone, and maybe if you want to get crazy, another receiver, keep the defense as is. You got yourself a contender, or you got yourself a football team.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to. I know a lot of Browns fans like to immediately say blow things up as soon as something goes wrong and be,
Yeah.
we gotta blow it all up. We gotta go 1-16. We gotta go 1-16, and it's like, no, you don't. You're literally 1 or 2 pieces away from being competent, a good football team, and it showed in this game. Like, you inserted a quarterback who knew how to do the job, and he got the dub. And for everyone blaming the offensive line, if Jameis Winston can get 330 yards with a dog shit offensive line, then the problem was Deshaun Watson, because Watson had the top 10, top 15 most time to throw, and he ran into his sacks. He ran into problems. He threw the ball wherever he threw it, and he created problems for himself. Jameis sat in the pocket, and as soon as somebody was open, he's like, "Oh, easy," and just dropped a dime. Now, again, like you said, maybe Ken Dorsey's a little bit more aggressive with the play call than Stefanski, who's a little bit more conservative. But it's not like the plays have changed. There were still some conservative calls that were made.
The execution was vastly different.
Yeah, the execution. It's just Jameis Winston executed the plays that were drawn up for him and said, all right, I'm actually going to make these throws and make these plays.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that was the biggest difference. Now,
yeah.
I do want to point out of the offensive line, DeJuan Jones got the start at left tackle, and for the first time all season, he looked like his normal self.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I think he's been losing some weight during these last few weeks. It sounds like he's gotten back down a little bit. They said he was at a top end of like 415 at the start of the season, so that's big. And he's now about 375, and I think he wants to get to about 350. And
Yeah.
I think if he can get around that 350, even hell, if he can somehow get to like sub 350, I think that's the best case scenario for him, because you're already a huge human being. You cannot have that much weight on your knees. You're just gonna blow him out. But he looked outstanding, and with Jed Wills apparently starting to come back this week, I almost think you got to start DeJuan Jones at left tackle again. He just looked better. He looked more comfortable, and he plays beyond the whistle. He plays to the whistle, where we don't see that with Jed. So, like, the only way Jed is starting is if you're planning on shopping him. And that's my straight up opinion, but I don't even think you take that chance unless you're willing to tank this season in general, which after the win, that's another thing that I wanted to get into as well is, this win is sort of a win that can kind of change the direction of the season overall. Yeah. So do they continue to try to push for a late wild card, or do we just kind of try to push for that top 10 pick? Because either one could very well be possible. It's still only, it's October 31st, so we still have 2 months until playoffs really starts to get into things, but we won't know if this team is even going to be even eligible for the playoffs until probably December, pretty close to Christmas. So it's going to be a long road. So what the hell do they do?
I mean, and you got to look at the schedule too. The schedule is very favorable, at least for the next couple games,
Yep.
because you play the Chargers, who, yes, everyone's like, well, they're 4-3. Yeah, but they beat the worst teams in the league.
And they're
They
not scoring a lot of points.
they're
Their
not
defense
scoring.
is good.
Their defense is solid, but they're not scoring a lot of points. Their offense is horrible.
Yeah.
Um, and then after that, you got the Saints, who have just tanked so hard, and they're pretty much out of it already. They're one of the worst teams in the league. And then you play a very beatable Steelers team at home. Like, I know people think the Steelers are really good, but again, a lot of their wins came against mediocre teams, and their defense was just too powerful for that. Like, they're and plus, dude, the defenses they faced weren't good enough to test the Steelers' offense.
Yeah.
So, do we really think that Russell Wilson and Justin Fields are really good? Time will tell when they start playing elite defenses. But again, you play them, then you play the Broncos. Again, very beatable team who just get lucky at times. And, Bo Nix will have a really good game, then a really poor game, then a really good game. But again, they played very beatable teams and teams that they should have beat. And then you play the Steelers again. And then you get to the nitty gritty. You started getting like the Kansas City Chiefs, the Bengals, the Dolphins. I still don't think look good unless Tua's playing. And then you play the Ravens again. And to be fair, the Bengals look horrible. I'm not really scared of the Bengals.
No.
The Chiefs have gotten bailed out a couple times by the rest. The Chiefs should have multiple losses too, but they've gotten bailed out a couple times. These teams are very, very beatable. It's not, especially to with Jameis Winston. If he played like he did on Sunday, there's no reason this team can't try for at least a wild card push, or like you said, a top 10 push.
Yeah.
Or a top 10 pick push or whatever, and at least finish with a salvageable record.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, but I don't think you can try to get a sub like 3 or 4 win season with with this team. I think that's just too big of a waste. We've already had to waste 6 games plus with Watson because of how bad he was, and we were forced to put him out there because the ownership probably wouldn't let them sit him until he literally got hurt. And again, I didn't want the whole Watson thing to go the way it has, but the fact that he's not starting right now and now all of a sudden we're having success, I'm sorry, there's just always a correlation to that. It always means something. And listen, this team looked like they believed behind Winston. And it's so freaking weird because this is the same effect Flacco had last year. Everybody, as soon as he walked into that building, everybody believed in him. Everybody played harder for him, it seemed like. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't necessarily play hard for Watson, especially during that, the Ravens game last year where he went off in the second half before he got hurt. But still, he was not producing consistent games. Now, that's the thing that we still need to see from Winston, is if there's going to be consistency. Because, he did have a few throws where he could have thrown a pick, and he knows it. But like that's who he's always been. He's just like Flacco in that sense of like you're either going to get touchdowns or you're going to get INTs. It's just how it is. But Winston can pop back and keep going. And if you're going to be that type of quarterback, you better be able to bounce back quickly. And Chubb is starting to look a little better. They're starting to slowly incorporate him more. We have a bye week starting to come up. Last week's win was just really, really big just for the fact of, okay, Stefanski isn't quite on the hot seat. Winston gives us something, and the fans could start to slowly rally back because it's going to take time again. But if they can beat the Chargers, which is a very doable game, they go into the bye week 3-6. It's a hell of a lot better than 2-7.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a lot better than 1-8. And it makes a subtle difference. And with the way the AFC North is going, you don't know how it's going to end because the Bengals suck. The Ravens are very unpredictable. The Steelers are really the only team right now that has looked pretty consistent. Like Russ is putting up decent numbers, and Najee Harris is finally starting to play well, and their defense is very, very good, as they always are. The Steelers are just ran well. So they're always going to compete, but that's the only team in the AFC North that's been consistent. So if you can squeak one out against the Bengals and somehow sweep the Ravens, you give yourself at least a chance for a wild card spot, if not at least the AFC North shot. And there's a lot of teams struggling right now. There's a lot of teams at 2-6, a lot. One of them is playing right now, and they're so bad, and it's the Jets. And honestly, hot take, the Browns are better than the Jets currently.
At this going rate, I don't think it's really much of a hot take.
No,
I mean, insert Jameis Winston. This team looked insanely different. This team looked really, really good.
They looked competent again. It was insane.
It was a free-flowing offense that just drove downfield. It kept going downfield, and they gave Dustin Hopkins opportunities to kick field goals. They just had opportunities to score points with every drive. And that the fact that we hung almost pretty much 30 points on the Ravens, it's crazy. And again, it just proves time and time again that it was Deshaun Watson that was the problem. And now the front office is like, damn, now we have to really think in the offseason, we can't bring this guy back.
Yeah.
Because it seems like no matter who we put in place of Watson, just does significantly better.
Yeah.
Whether it was PJ Walker, Joe Flacco, anybody else, DTR even looked better for a couple games last year and got us a couple wins. So you're looking at it, if you're the front office, and you're like, damn, man, other quarterbacks thrived here. Jameis Winston's now thriving. It probably was Deshaun Watson that's been the issue this entire time, and we're probably just going to have to deal with it and eat the money and just get rid of him.
Yeah, take the L and get rid of him, please.
At this point, take the L, get rid of him.
Because he needs a fresh start, and so do we.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, if you don't like the quarterbacks in this draft, keep Jameis Winston for one more year. Keep Jameis for one more year, playing for a full season, and then go draft a QB in the next draft. Or again, see what you have in DTR. Let DTR ride behind Jameis next year. See what you have. And just go with it.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of opportunities to get QBs in the future. Obviously, Archie Manning's probably going to be available next year or in 2 years. If you really want to tank for someone like him, then you do it in the next 2 years. But I think you ride it out with Jameis. Re-sign him, or depending on how Joe Flacco does, if you really want Joe Flacco back next, get Joe Flacco back.
I mean, I think it makes more
more
sense to keep J. Jameis. And even if you decide to draft another quarterback, you can still keep, Winston as that bridge. I think he's only, 30 or 31? He's not that old.
No, Jameis is
I think he's 30, at least.
I think he just turned 30. He might be a little bit older than 30. Oh, no, he's exactly 30.
I was about to say, because he was drafted around, I think 2013. It was sometime when I was in high school.
It was in 2013 when we
were. I'm so good.
Oh, no. 2015.
Ah, fuck. I was going to start.
And it was when we were in college.
I was going to start gassing myself up. I was like, man, I'm on a roll tonight. Because I had a lot of shit going tonight.
He was the first pick of the draft by the Buccaneers in 2015.
And then Marcus Mariota was next.
Marcus Mariota was up next.
Yeah.
So, just turned 30 in January. So he'll be 31 at the end of the season.
But he at least can give you time, and you don't have to necessarily pay him a lot. And he wants to be a starting quarterback. That was one of the things that he wanted to do. But he chose to come here because he just liked how the team was built, and he liked what we were building. And that's what a lot of these players that are starting to come here are coming here for. So again, that's why, dude, I was never, we were both on this. We weren't blaming Stefanski here. I think Stefanski was tied behind his chair trying to get out of this shit and couldn't do anything until he was forced to start Winston because Watson's hurt. And it's the best thing that could have happened to this team, sadly. And it's horrible to say. I'm not rooting for him to have gotten hurt, but my gosh, it's gonna make the difference on this team. Now, are we just gonna win out? No, of course not. But I think if you win this week going into your bye week, I think the Browns, they try to go all in on the season and try for a playoff push until they're literally forced out, and then they might start to sit guys. But they still have a slim chance, and it's better than none.
Yeah.
And I also think that trading Cooper was one of the best things that could have happened to Cedric Tillman
Hmm.
because he has lit it up. Last week's game was huge. He had 12 targets the game before that. I think he had 12 this past week as well.
He had 9 this week. Past
Yeah,
week.
so Tillman is getting targeted a lot. He obviously had the go ahead there with around a minute left to go in the game to sort of seal the deal for us. But he has
Yeah.
looked great. He looks confident again, and even Elijah Moore made a lot of good plays. I think he had like 7 or 8 kick catches as well, and obviously Jerry Jeudy is going to get somewhat involved. He still hasn't quite hit his stride, but he will because he was really close to taking one to the house last week too.
Yeah, I have the stats right here. So Tillman had 9 targets. Moore had 12 targets. Judy and Njoku both shared 8.
Yeah.
So around even for everyone.
Yeah.
And then Tillman had 7 catches for 99 yards. Moore 8 for 85. Judy 5 for 79. Njoku 5 for 61 and a touchdown. And obviously Tillman had 2 touchdowns, but I mean, what you're seeing is you're seeing the ball spread out more often now. Everyone's getting the same amount of targets. Everyone's getting the
And it's
same
a
amount of.
better ball being thrown too.
It's a lot better ball being thrown. I mean, the 2 that were thrown to Njoku for the touchdown and that one 15-yard
Oh,
but
yeah.
beautiful balls, like
Yeah.
only where Njoku can get it, and they were just absolutely perfect from Winston. And I mean, the Tillman touchdown at the end was just on a dime, like right in the basket, just easy work for Tillman, and
It's deja vu. It
stage
really
of
is. It's
it.
deja vu. It's back to Flacco. And speaking of Flacco, he just
He,
got named the starter for the Colts this week, or for the rest of the season, I should say, because
and
Anthony Richardson's been so bad.
Yeah, and you want to know why? It's because the Colts are a competent franchise who said, okay, our starting quarterback kind of sucks right now. Let's put in a quarterback who's going to win us football games.
Yeah.
Now, let's ride this shit out and keep sucking.
Yeah. Well, the difference is they aren't paying,
230
Anthony
mil.
Richardson 230 million. We are, unfortunately.
But he is a 3rd pick in the draft.
Yeah, well, yeah, like he was a top 5 pick in the draft. So yeah, I mean it's
So some organizations would be like, well, we got to play him. I mean, he's a top 5 pick. We
yeah,
got to kind of play him. And
yeah,
it's like, listen, dude, you're ass. We're going to play someone else that's going to help us win football games until you develop into a good quarterback.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it really just depends on how far Winston can take us. But honestly, like he can take us pretty far. He's a good enough quarterback to win you games. He's a
Yeah.
good enough quarterback to have big games, like he did. He's not really gonna lose you games. Obviously he has. I think he has like 100 career picks. So I mean, he's kind of like the Eli Manning sort of guy as well, where he's either big bomb or he's ints. But Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls in his time. I'm in New York, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen here. Obviously, I'm not saying that, but he at least gives us a better chance. And I'm glad that Stefanski said he's the starter for the rest of the year. I'm not gonna budge on this unless he gets hurt or something. But Winston is the guy. The guys believe in him. Go with the locker room here because that is what's most important. And I think that's why Stefanski is going to have so much more control and success over being sort of that CEO of the whole team now instead of just worrying about the offense as much as he did.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of your comments about Winston being like an Eli Manning and Joe Flacco where it's bombs all day and times where it could be picked. I mean, we take a look at his 30 for 30 year when he had 33 touchdowns and 30 picks. He still had over a 60% completion rating and he threw for over 5K yards.
Yeah.
He had about 5,200 yards passing, which was the top in the league at that point. I mean, like you can't argue with that. I mean, and it's not like he throws an insane amount of picks. I mean, don't get me wrong, he throws like in his first year he had 22 touchdowns, 15 picks. In his second year he had 28 touchdowns, 18 picks, 19 touchdowns, 11 picks, 19 and 14. Obviously 33 and 30. With the Saints in 21, he had 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He had a 102 QBR or a 102 rating. And then obviously he didn't play much in 22 and 23. But even with the Browns, he's already got a 63% completion rating. He's got 4 touchdowns, no picks, and he has a 111 rating right now.
And hey, he didn't start a game for 2 years. Was there any
Yeah,
fucking rust?
that's what I'm saying.
That's been the excuse for Watson all these years is, oh, he has rust. He hasn't played a lot. And I get it. He hasn't. But
Neither has Jameis. Jameis has been a
Jameson
backup,
either.
and all those touchdowns and interceptions that Jameis had with the Saints were just garbage time touchdowns and picks.
Yeah.
So it's not like he played a full game in those situations. He was just backing up like Drew Brees and backing up Derek Carr.
And like, I will say, like, sure, his injuries probably has played somewhat of a,
Factor,
a
yeah.
factor here. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, when you come back from your, injury, your whole point of getting, rehabbed and stuff is to come back and be able to play to your exact level. And if you feel like you can't do that, why are you playing? Especially when you make this much money, you can't jeopardize what little of a microscope of a thing you have here in Cleveland. Like, to me, I don't see a way that he gets back. I think the fans are done with it, and I think that the ownership after this season is going to be done with it.
Well, I think the
And
coaching staff
Monster's
is
going to
done
be
with.
sucked.
I
Yeah,
think the coaching staff's done with it. They're probably gonna. It's the fancy's probably telling the AB and has him like,
this
do
has
not
to
bring
end. Yeah.
don't bring this guy back. This guy's garbage. And
Yeah.
obviously there were the memes of Deshaun told the camp or whatever, he doesn't want Jameis back because it
Yeah.
makes him look bad or whatever, like they did with Joe
It's like,
Flacco
no,
after.
the only one that's starting to make you look bad is yourself, my friend. And everybody that's in your corner that has continued to dick ride you for the last 3 seasons now with nothing to show for it.
I still love the meme that's been going around where it's like Deshaun Watson. It says, "Well, the thing about my Achilles is that it's located on my collar." Like, and that shit made me cry so
Yeah, yeah,
much.
that's so funny.
I was like, "That's fucking." I was like, "If he's going out, that's the best joke to go out."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean the Browns have a chance to sort of bring the season back, and I think last week's game was just a really solid win. It was very much a team win. It was one
Absolutely.
that's going to bring everybody back together. Everybody's going to start to vibe again, and that's all you need with a team like this because it's not
Yeah.
like we have bad players. The only loss right now is Jock. Losing Jock, at least for this week, is going to suck. But fortunately, we have that bye week, so hopefully after the bye week, he'll be fine. We'll see what's going on with Ward. I know he is sort of day to day with that concussion, which is like his 16th concussion. So we'll see how that's going. But um, you know, again, we have a lot of winnable games here, and it sucks too, man. Like if we started Winston after the Giants game, I think this team is like 5-3 right now.
Mhm.
And that's the thing that sucks. But we're here. This is what we have to deal with, and it's not an impossible feat. The Browns just have a lot to make up for, but they have the player base to do it, and that's why it's like it's believable. But you gotta wait and just see what this coaching staff is going to have and what these players are going to bring. And as long as they can survive the storm, it's definitely possible.
Yeah. Right now, I'm looking at the injury report for this week, and right as of right now, the people who did not practice were Joe Batonio hasn't practiced all week. Um, Jordan Hicks hasn't practiced. Jock obviously has not practiced, and then Denzel Ward hasn't practiced. So there's a few guys who haven't practiced, but like I'm more just worried about the linebacker situation because obviously we're praying to God that Hicks would kind of come back and return for at least JOK and we could walk into the bye week. But I think that's the other thing I wanted to praise before we move on and whatever is the fact that with how Winston played, the way the defense was able to rest, they looked like the defense of last year.
Mm,
Where it's like, okay, they were able to stay off the field for a big chunk of time
yeah,
because we're actually moving the ball downfield and they're actually able to do their jobs and get sacks and get pressure and get picks and we're able to run man to man all the time now because we
you're
don't
not
have to
gassed.
we're not gassed because if being gassed is forcing the defense to play zone and so they can recover, but you don't have to worry about that situation now because your defense can stay off the field and you can score points and play good defense and it's just full circle, baby, full circle. And look, D Hop looked really good kicking the football because he's not rushed to get out there and hurry up and kick a field goal and everyone's looking good. Like it took 1 week of just Jameis Winston changing the culture. And the last thing too is when you talked about how the players seem like they actually want to play now, and like they're actually like excited to play. And I think it's because like Joe Flacco, there's actually a leader on the field.
Yes,
They
absolutely.
they actually have a leader in the locker room. Someone like obviously we know all about his pregame hype ups and stuff like that, but again with Joe Flacco, it's that veteran leadership.
Yeah.
The guy who calms you down, who brings you back to life and says like, listen, we got this, we're good. Like don't beat yourself up. Like Tillman, you dropped that pass, but don't beat yourself up on it. Like you'll get the next one. Like there was actual leadership, and Deshaun Watson showed zero leadership.
Yeah,
zero. And it seems like that, and that's why the guys didn't want to play for him because he doesn't show any kind of leadership.
And he was voted a captain this year, by the way.
I would have made Jameis Winston the captain.
For real, because he's always been a more local guy. And
yeah.
I think this kind of goes back to a quote that Watson said earlier sometime this year. I forget if it was just before the season or like after week 1 or so. But he was pretty much saying like how he doesn't feel like he has to be like the Watson that he was in Houston. How's that playing out for you? Because we gave you $230 million guaranteed to be that guy, and you have failed to do so in the last 3 seasons. Do you really think the fans are just going to keep trying to get behind you when it's already hard enough as is with your past, with the things that you have gone through?
Yeah.
You can't blame us for disliking, A, what we're seeing on the field, and B, what you've done in your past. The whole reason you're even here is because you fucked up.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, if he was just like Ben Roethlisberger and played well, I think the entire organization, I think the entire fan base just forgets about it. Like,
kind of, yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But obviously, nobody forgot about Ben Roethlisberger, but...
Yeah. But his also wasn't as severe. And like,
yeah.
And by the way, I'm not discrediting what Roethlisberger did either. Do not take that out. But it's
severe, but not to the Watson severity.
Yeah, it's a difference of there was 23 or 25 people, whatever it was that he allegedly.
And Roethlisberger was like 2 women or something.
Yeah.
But I think everyone forgot about it because Roethlisberger after that year won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. and he actually like did things to help portray his image better because of how he acted. He was literally trying to change his life, and I just think Watson comes off as kind of fake. I don't know if you sort of get that from him as well, but I do. Like
fake, yeah.
It doesn't seem genuine to me, and it's really hard for I think a lot more fans to get behind him with that. So again, the Browns have a really solid just opportunity here to make a little run and really figure out what they want to do with this season, because not all hope is lost, and as we said, you do not have to blow this entire thing up. It's not impossible. So we will see how it goes, but I do want to get into some Cavs talk before we get back into the Week 9 predicts.
Absolutely.
Because the Cavs right now are red hot. I know we're only 5 games in, dude, but we're one of the hottest teams right now. Like, we are scoring at will. We are bullying teams. We just beat the snot out of the Lakers last night. We beat the Knicks with Cat and their new sort of team that they've built. The Cavs just look different this year.
Yeah. They look incredible, dude.
And it all starts with Evan Mobley, as we said last week. But now, last week we said, where does Garland fit? He fits perfectly. Thank you, Garland. Dude, his confidence is through the freaking roof, and he is shooting the ball well. He's fitting into the system. Atkinson has done it. He's literally doing what we begged JB to do for years now.
Yeah. And the funny thing is Garland last week had 36 points or something.
34, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was in the mid 30s in points. I mean, even this week, Evan Mobley back in 25 again, like he was in game one. He scored 25 again, and
And Jared Allen had some big games.
Jared Allen had 15.
Donovan, like everybody's contributing right now.
Allen had
Even
Allen had 20 this past
yeah,
game against the Lakers.
and even Levert is getting about 15 to 20 a night. His shot looks better.
Yeah,
Guys are just contributing differently. And it's every single game, it's somebody new, but it's like they all chirp in at different times of the game. Like, Donovan started off this game last night, the guy. And I think that was a really good idea. Take all of the pressure off the young guys, put it on
mm-hmm.
me. I'm feeling good. He was chucking up threes. We had 8 threes in the first quarter. That's insane. Like that literally just debilitated the Los Angeles, and it made a difference. And they just never let up. And dude, it's the best thing to see. Evan Mobley get the ball on the top of the key, and if he sees a mismatch, he just and he's down and he's dunking on people. He had like 10 dunks last night. Like the dude is scoring at will, and he's bullying people like we've never seen him before. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I showed a stat to my dad earlier today because we went out to lunch together today. The Cavs in 3 of the first 5 games this season have scored over 130 points.
Yeah.
We've done that 3 times all last season. This offense is insanely different. I mean, like Mobley, Garland, Mitchell, and Allen are just scoring at will at this point. The offense is unstoppable. Mobley's doing an excellent job bringing the ball up the court and creating diversions, whether it's him driving to the paint or the 2 guards, Garland and Mitchell, setting up picks for maybe a pick and pop or something for Mobley, or even for them to get open for a pop, whatnot. Yeah. Like, there's so many things that Atkinson has done with this offense, and it just looks so damn good that it's just free flowing. They're not oversharing the ball, which JB tried to do too much last year, was try to pass around the court. And by then it's like, oh, we have 1 second. We should probably chuck it up real quick, and didn't work. And like, I get it. You want to move the ball around to an open shooter, but someone's open. Atkinson's telling these guys, don't be afraid to shoot. Like, it don't matter who you are. If you're open, take the fucking shot. And again, we're scoring at will. We're getting to the bucket. We're making our shots. This offense looks really good. And we've been really one of the best teams in transition defense too, because in a transition, we just get a lot of steals. Mobley and Allen have been unstoppable in the paint, just blocking shots left and right. And I mean, as of right now, we are one of the only 2 teams left in the league that is undefeated still.
And I believe we're like, are we the top scoring team overall in the league?
I believe we are the top scoring, because we are averaging right now 125 points per game.
Yeah.
126 per game.
I mean, I know we've scored over 130 at least like 2 or 3 times.
3 times in the first 5 games.
And that's insane by itself, because we were never doing that last year, because it was, Donovan's going to score 40 and Garland may score 20 and Jared Allen may score 10. But like, dude, I think Atkinson saw all of the things that we did well last year and said, hey, we're going to do this, but we're going to do this all season long. You guys are not going to not do this. The best way that they play is when they are moving the ball around and getting everybody involved throughout the game. You're going to have moments and spurts where certain guys are going to go off. That's how the NBA works, and that's how good teams that are built like this have success. So that's what's happening.
As this is, the Cavs and the Celtics are both tied for first place in points per game.
Man, both with 120. The Celtics game. Oof.
Both with 125.8.
Yeah.
But the Cavs are averaging. The Cavs are number 1 in field goal percentage at 54. Next team is the Knicks at just 50. We are top 10 in 3-pointers made. We are also top 15, top 20 in 3-pointers attempted. 3-point percentage, we are number 1. at 42%, which is fucking wild.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We are, and going to some defensive stats, we're number 2 in steals, number 7 in blocks, turnovers, top 10, PF again in the middle of the pack, rebounds. We're actually one of the worst rebounding teams in the league, funny enough.
That's so interesting.
But we're also top 5 in assists.
Yeah. So I think the reason why we're not getting as many rebounds is because we're scoring the ball more. We don't have to rebound.
We're scoring more. We don't have to rebound as much.
We don't need the 10 offensive boards a game just to survive.
Yeah, because the worst rebounding team in the league is Sacramento, but they're also averaging 118 points per game.
Yeah.
So they're also scoring a shit ton of points, and it's leading to just less rebounds.
Yeah, that's why those stats really don't matter.
Yeah.
They really don't.
Because even Boston, who's just above us in points per game, are averaging bottom 5 in rebounds.
Yeah.
So it just shows you don't have to rebound as much when you're scoring 130 points per game.
No, you don't. It's just not needed because you're just outscoring the shit out of teams.
Yeah.
And, I think the Cavs, because they've always been good on defense. That was one thing that JB, I think, really honed in on them, and that's what he was good at.
Yeah.
But now that, we have a coach that's a little more, minded on the offensive end, that this is helping them in the half-court game especially. That is where we struggled the most in the playoffs, and that is where we are finding success because, again, you're giving guys like Mobley the green light at the top of the key to do whatever the hell he wants. If he sees a mismatch, he's good. And everybody on this team can pass, whether it's our big men or our guards. Everybody can pass the ball, so we are free flowing, and that's the way this team is going to have continued success.
Yeah,
and Atkinson has just unlocked the key, man. He really has.
No, he really has, and we were trying to find someone who would be able to come in and just unlock Evan Mobley and get Darius Garland's confidence back.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that because, again, Garland is looking like his old self again. He's looking like all-star Darius Garland.
Yep.
I don't think he had 12 to 13 points last game, but he also had 10, 12 assists.
Yep.
So he's also doing really well with moving the ball around. He's just playing his style of basketball. And this is the Garland that we've been wanting to see again. It's helping Mitchell become really good. It's helping Mobley really well. It's helping Allen.
Yeah.
I saw a video on Darius Garland the other day before the Lakers game, and it was showing how Garland is creating these mismatches for himself where he's getting to the basket. And as soon as he drives into the lane, he gives himself 3 options.
Yeah.
And the 3 options are a nice little floater into the hoop. Option B is kicking it out to guys like Mitchell, LeVert, or other guys in the corner who are wide open because he's drawing defenders in. Or option C, which he's been doing a lot this year, is lobbing it up to Mobley or Allen and getting a easy lob dunk.
And especially when he's good at that sort of double dribble drive and then floating it either in the basket or floating it to one of the big guys, nobody knows what he's going to do. And now he's even starting to just go at the basket at will. He did it last night a lot. It's just been oh my God, Garrett Wilson. That was a fucking catch.
Oh my days.
I don't know if he got his other foot down, but my golly, that was a catch. Sorry, guys.
But oh my God, did you see Rodgers and the ref live? Holy shit! They're like, holy hell, that was a catch and a half.
Let's see. He's got one there.
Yeah. Does he get that other foot down? He's got that foot down. His knee's out.
Yeah, his knee's out.
Before that foot touches. If his knee doesn't touch, that's one of the best catches I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
I think that beats the OBJ catch.
That honestly might, because that is right around the same. He might have got his knee right at the end there.
If he gets his knee right at the end, insanity. No, it's
out. Yeah, it's out.
It's just out.
That was a good catch, though. Sorry, guys. We were in the middle of Kegavs talking. Garrett Wilson he literally almost did the Jordan pose of just the Odell types of catches. That was insane. Wow. But
Wow.
yeah, I
Oh,
can
it's too
say that
chronic right
about
there.
yeah. But wow, I can say that about this Cavs team,
Well,
and that's
it's being
yeah, they're
challenged right now.
challenging. Yeah, they're challenging it. We'll see if they get it because he did get that other foot down. I don't know if they're gonna count that though.
Well, he got the first foot down twice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think that like if that happens, that should count in my
Yeah, because
opinion.
it should count as 2 feet
Yeah,
because you
like
hit twice. Like that's
especially when you're in the air like that, like you can't ask for somebody to do anything more. But anyways, so
sorry,
back
guys.
to a little bit of Cavs talk before we get into our Week 9 predicts. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, the Cavs are just hitting their stride. Obviously it's early, so you can't get too high on it because there's still a lot of basketball to play. But it's a great start to this early season, and if they can keep this up as long as they stay healthy, the Cavs are going to be that sort of third or fourth best team, if not better, because Boston should be that team. We're really going to find out what this team is made of when they play Boston for the first time, because the Knicks did not look, they honestly look worse with Cat than they did with Julius Randle, in my opinion.
Oh, dude,
It's weird.
I was literally gonna say that they actually kind of didn't look that good with
No,
Cat.
no, they
Like
don't.
it seemed like Cat just kind of slowed him down a little bit, and also
Yes.
too, with the Celtics, I think we actually might be better and have the edge because if you notice, their centers are still Cornette and Al Horford. And you're telling me the way Allen and Mobley are playing right now that Horford's going to stop those two?
Yeah,
Not
and that's
even
the
close.
difference. We didn't have those guys in the playoffs last year, and we still tucked in the 5 games. And Mobley
And
played fantastic against them.
if you have Mobley, this Mobley now playing against the Celtics against Al Horford, Horford's getting dunked on every single time.
Yeah,
Like, not even Cornette can stop him. Horford can't stop him. Whoever they have as a third can't stop him. Like, nobody is stopping Evan Mobley, and no one is going to stop Jared Allen.
and
Like
then
on
you
that
mix
Celtics
in,
team.
and then you mix in the fact that Garland has his confidence back,
Yeah.
and he
I think they
did
have
have a good game or two against them last year as well. And if he can play good like this all season long, Garland's going to be an all star as well, and we're going to have 3 or 4 all stars. Did they really?
I think they gave it a touchdown.
Oh my
Uh
gosh!
it's reverse, it's a tutty.
Wow, that is a catch and a half. That's so sick. All
That
right.
that's gotta be better than the OBJ catch at MetLife.
By the way,
Nah.
I did pick the Jets tonight to win this, and it wasn't starting to look good, but I was like, man, Houston's beat up. The Jets are not really beat up. They've just sucked, but they have a chance. Let's see what
Oh,
they can do. Okay, he
also
had his shin down.
also with the Cavs, Ty Jerome. What is going on with this dude off the bench? Like him and the Vert averaging like 15 off the bench is crazy.
It's Atkinson, dude.
It's
He has continuity with him.
like
So he just knows how to use them.
yeah, it's like, oh my god, Ty Jerome is just a baller. And I said this to Zach the other day. He's like top 10 in like fucking MVP voting.
Yeah, he's top 10 MVP voting, guys. Go look.
Yeah,
Go look.
it's like him, Levert, and Allen are like top, and Mobley are all like top 15 or top 10 in like MVP voting.
It's
Not
the
Donovan
weirdest
Mitchell.
thing ever.
Not Donovan Mitchell. It's like Allen, Mobley, Ty Jerome, and Karis LeVert. I'm like
So
pissing
funny.
myself. Like,
It's
who
so
the fuck
funny.
is voting for Ty Jerome to be MVP of the
It's
league?
probably Donovan straight up. He's probably like, give it to him, give it to him, give it to him. But like, yeah,
Dude, I can't wait for MVP chance for Ty Jerome, but he's shooting free throws at the next Cavs.
we have to.
MVP,
We have to.
Ty Jerome's like, hell yeah, I'm the goddamn MVP.
And that sort of goes back again to JB not being able to use his lineups. Wasn't that not our biggest complaint about JB
Never
throughout
used
his
the bench.
entire stint? He never used the bench, but he could never rotate his guys correctly. He wasn't using
No.
good lineups.
and
And
also too,
you're seeing that with this.
and it's not even just that. It's not just the fact that Atkinson's using his bench. He's utilizing them in the correct ways. He's got these guys scoring. He's got these guys assisting. Like,
And they're still playing defense.
we never seen the bench at all last year. And this year, and we talked about it last year, and they're showing the OBJ touchdown at MetLife
Yeah,
on replay.
of course.
But the bench last year did not score any points at all.
Mhm.
Essentially, the Cavs are like number one or number two in bench scoring now,
Yeah,
and I think that's what killed us in the playoffs last year,
absolutely
and
did.
that's what killed us in a lot of regular season games last year too. Was the bench scoring. There was no bench scoring. So when you had guys coming off the bench, that's when the Celtics killed you. That's when the Magic was killing you in the playoffs. Those teams took advantage of you.
Oh my god! And then
Dude,
Tank
there's
Dell
a
comes right back. I love
lot
it.
of insane catches right now.
Yeah.
Um, but as I was saying, like the bench scoring is what's going to help this team win a championship if they make it. And and as of right now, even though we're 5 games into the season, I think the Cavs are the best team in the East.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely. Without a doubt.
I don't think the Celtics come. I think the Celtics come close, but there's no way like a mid-30s Al Horford is gonna defend the hell out of Mobley or Allen
I mean,
at
mid
this rate.
30s. I think he is like 37 now.
I think he is too. I think
Like
he might be late 30s.
Al Horford has been in the league for a while because he was with those Atlanta Hawks teams
Yeah,
as well. Like he
uh,
was, man, he's been
yeah.
in
I
the league for
wouldn't.
a minute.
He's been. Yeah, I remember those days with Cal Korver and.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's 38. He just turned 38 in June.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
telling me a 38-year-old is going to stop Evan Mobley the way he's
Evan
playing?
Mobley's dominating him now because he's also what, like 15 or 20 pounds heavier than he was in the playoffs too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Evan Mobley in the playoffs is about to be absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. It's gonna be gross.
But yeah, I if the Cavs continue to play this way, they're going to run through the East.
Yeah.
And they might run through and when a lot of people now, I've seen a lot of people now have the Cavs as one of the favorites to win the title this year.
Yeah, you might as well put in your bets now because this could be a fun season for the Cavs as long as they
We
can stay healthy.
we might see a title again in Cleveland this year.
We might, and after the Brown shit, the Guardians are doing some noise. Obviously, thank God that the Yankees lost. By the way,
But yeah, pray to
um,
God, thank God for that.
so yeah, I mean the Cavs are just starting to look good. It's gonna be a fun season. I'm really excited. But I do want to get into our week 9 picks. Yes, sir. So last week, your boy here actually cooked. I had a pretty good week. I can't lie. So go ahead.
Yeah, let me share the screen here. But yeah, no. So for the recap, in week 8, Zach finished 13-3. Absolutely dominated. I didn't have a bad week either. I went 10-6, but
Yeah.
it's not no 13-3. But
The only games that I got wrong were the Ravens game, obviously, thank God. The Dolphins lost to the Cardinals at the end, and the freaking Chicago Bears lost at a Hail Mary to
yeah,
Washington.
absolutely. And I got those games wrong too, as well as the Minnesota game, the Bengals game, and obviously the Jets game.
Yeah,
So because
quite
somehow
funny.
some of the Jets lost to New England, which
Yeah.
is beyond me.
And now
But
they're up right now against Houston. Make that make sense.
and to kick off the weekly predictions for tonight's game, because obviously means I made these predictions beforehand. I had Houston winning, and Zach obviously had the Jets winning, as you mentioned earlier. So I got Houston winning, Zach's got the Jets, and it looks like Houston is getting ready to score again. So
It's
it's
about to be a
gonna
nice fourth quarter finally. Finally, some shit's going on.
the fourth quarter is about to be really back and forth, so it's a toss up right now. But moving on to Sunday, we have the Tennessee Titans and the New England Patriots.
The Pats win this game. The Titans are just a abysmal team right now.
Yeah,
They really are. That's really all the like all I gotta say.
yeah. I mean, I have New England too. I just think they are. I think the Titans are them and Carolina are the two worst teams in football right now.
Yeah,
And it's not even close. They're the two worst teams in football.
yeah.
All right, Dallas and Atlanta.
Atlanta. If Dallas does not have Micah and Trayvon Diggs and that Brand kid, I mean Dallas is gonna be in absolute shambles. The
Yeah,
Falcons have been playing well. My boy Kyle Pitts is finally starting to get some real game action going right now. Atlanta's cruising.
yeah. I mean, again, I have Atlanta, Dallas with all those injuries, and even when healthy, they still haven't looked the greatest.
No,
So I think
makes the
that.
loss to the to them look even worse, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. but I think Atlanta is gonna handle business in Atlanta.
Absolutely.
Jacksonville and Philly.
Philadelphia should win this game. For the Jags, they it should get NTN back. They might have Bigsby going, but they just lost Brian Robinson Jr. and I think they also lost Kurt as well. I think he just broke his collarbone. So
Yeah, Kirk is out for the year with a broken
they
collarbone.
have Gabriel Davis in a dream. They don't have a lot to go, and it's just going to be a rough one for them. So CJ Stroud almost caught a touchdown pass. What the hell's going on? But yeah, I'm saying Eagles.
Yeah, I went the Eagles too, just because of the injuries to the offense. The only saving grace right now is ETN, and he's even struggled a lot this year too
And
to get anything.
the Jags just need a tank at this point.
Yeah, tank for Trevor. Baltimore and Denver for the next game.
Um, ooh. Denver hasn't looked that bad. I think this means that they're at Baltimore.
They are in
I'm
Baltimore.
I'm gonna say the Ravens have a bounce back game. They do win this game, but I think Denver makes it close because their defense is fucking solid for being what they are.
Yeah,
Like Denver is a competent team this year, and they look a lot better than I thought they were with Bo Nix, and he's getting better every week. But the Ravens should win this game, so I'm going Ravens.
I went with the Ravens too, just because they're at home. They have the advantage. I know they lost to Vegas earlier this year at home,
Yeah,
but I don't get me wrong. Denver has a top. I think they have like a top 10 offense, or I mean not offense, but defense this
yeah,
year.
they're very solid.
And their offense isn't terrible. But I think Baltimore squeaks one out. I think they're pissed about the loss to the Cleveland Browns, and I think they don't. I don't. They're gonna hold Denver hostage and prison them and whatnot, and
Yeah, they might.
they're gonna beat the crap out of them.
Yeah.
All right, to Chicago and Arizona.
Ooh.
It's a tough
Um,
one.
this is. You know what? I'm actually gonna go Arizona here. They're at home. Chicago just came off a really bad loss, and Chicago did not look that well against the Commanders. Their offense was starting to
Yeah,
get a little stagnant again. They could start to pick it up. If the Bears win, it's because Swift has a good game, and he just hasn't in a while. Cardinals don't look bad, so I'm going Cards.
I went with the Bears. I think the Cardinals they're kind of just too far up and down. I think they have a really good game, and then they have a game where they just struggle really bad,
Yeah,
and they just don't have any consistency. At least with the Bears, they're kind of consistent, but then like the loss against Washington was just.
terrible.
I mean, that's just one in a million. Like
Yeah, you
that's
can't let that happen.
you
You
can't
really
let that
can't.
happen. But I mean, again, that doesn't happen much at all in football.
Yeah,
So it's not really their fault they lost that game. I mean, the guys should not be celebrating early, but and then be the one to tip the ball to the to the end zone. But I think Chicago bounces back and has a good week.
also, this Jets game is crazy. The Jets just so Houston just kicked a field goal, and the Jets hit the long snapper. So Houston just got the ball back with the 1st and 10,
Yeah.
and now they're getting ready to score. This is fucking wild.
All right.
Anyways,
Baltimore, or excuse me, Miami and Buffalo.
Buffalo, Miami looks better with Tua, but Buffalo is at home, and they're just. I mean, dude, they're a hot team right now. They're killing it. And I just don't see Miami being able to slow them down. They really don't have really good success against the Bills anyway. So
I went for I went for Buffalo as well. Miami, like you said, Miami looks good with Tua, but their defense is just kind of bad.
yeah, they're trash.
And their defense isn't going to help them much at all. So I went with Buffalo. Moving on to the Packers and the Lions.
The Lions win here. This offense is the best offense in the league right now. They're scoring at a rapid rate, and they're scoring in weird ways. It also doesn't sound like the Packers might not have Jordan Love, and even if they do, he's going to be not 100%. Detroit has just been freaky, man. Like they are one of the scariest teams in the league to me right now. I just don't see many teams beating them.
I mean, again, I went with Detroit too. Like, the same reasoning as you. I just don't see anybody beating them. They're scoring. I mean, they just scored 50 points with a quarterback who threw for 80 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's the most insane stat I've ever heard in the NFL. So if they could do that, they're not going to lose another fucking game this year, probably.
No.
So, oh, he
Fairborn missed
missed.
it. He fucking missed it after getting a chance, you idiot. Oh my god, this game is nuts.
Oh my
this
God,
is
Fairbairn.
this is gonna be a fun one to watch back because we're gonna see our live reactions of Houston just choking it because both teams are making dumb things. I mean, think about what's happened in this game. The Jets missed out on a touchdown at the beginning of the game. Fairborn has missed 2 kicks, which would give them the lead right now. And the Jets almost lost this because they hit the long snapper, in which Fairborn actually hit the field goal, which was longer than the one they just missed. What a crazy game! This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what to say about this game anymore. Let's continue. New Orleans and Carolina.
Man, this is a ugly game. Ugh. Um, if Derek Carr's back, the Saints win this, so I'm gonna say Saints. I think he is actually getting ready to come back. If he is not, the Panthers win this game, but I'm saying Saints.
I'm actually going to take a look at the injury report for the Saints just to see if Derek Carr has been even practicing this week. Let me see here. He's been limited all week.
Yeah, I think he plays. He's a tough dude.
I think he plays. He's a tough guy. I got the Saints winning. Even if it was Spencer Rattler starting, I think the Saints defense is just actually the Saints defense is still pretty good.
And the Panthers are just that bad.
And the Panthers are just that bad. So I think the Saints could even just win on defense alone.
Yeah, because Bryce Young's back in. So
yeah, Bryce Young's back in. He's just
picks.
god awful, and he'll just throw picks at will. Rams and Seahawks.
Rams. Seahawks look they're starting to look a little worse. I think they might get DK back, but I don't think it matters. The Rams have Puka back. They have Cooper back. Everybody's starting to look a little better. And honestly, the Rams defense was pretty solid last week when I watched that game. So I'm going Rams.
I went with the Rams too, like you said. They have Puka and Cooper Kupp back, and their offense looks good again. And I think that's all they really needed. They just need that boost from having Puka back and having Cooper Kupp back, and everything's going to be fine. So I went with the Rams as well. Bengals and Raiders.
Also another shit game.
Yeah.
I will say the Bengals win this game. The Raiders are just that much worse in my opinion. Like we obviously lost to them, but they alone gave us every chance to win that game, and we had freaking Deshaun in. So I think the Bengals can do it. They can at least score on offense. Their defense is just so putrid, but the Raiders just don't have a good offense, and I don't even know who's their quarterback right now. I don't know if it's still Minshew.
Minshew played last week, so I would assume it's still Minshew starting again.
So yeah, I mean, it's just not going to be quite enough. I think it's Bengals.
Yeah, I went with the Bengals too. I think just losing Devontae Adams really hurt the offense a lot.
Yeah,
and he pretty much was the offense because they're not getting any work from Alexander Madison. They're not getting anything from the running backs. They're not getting anything from any other receiver that they have. It's for me the Bengals all day long.
Yeah.
All right, Colts and Vikings. Flacco and Darnold.
I gotta go with my boy Flacco. The Vikings looked like they're starting to look human again. Yeah. Sam Darnold is starting to look human again. I mean, their other offense is still pretty capable, but Flacco is just going to make the Colts a little bit better. The only thing that sucks about the Colts is their defense.
Yeah, that was
their defense is not great, but I still think Flacco does it for them. So yeah, I'm going to go Colts.
I went with Minnesota on this.
Cool.
Number one, they're at home. Number two, I think they're also undefeated at home. Number two, I do love Joe Flacco, but I went with Darnold just for the fact that I think Darnold's going to have a better game. I think the defense for the Vikings just 10 times better than the Colts defense, and I think that's going to be the downfall of the Colts is that they're going to get a lot of great work from Joe Flacco, but they can't sustain leads if their defense can't
Yeah.
do anything. So it's going to be hard for Joe Flacco to win football games. Like he's gonna give them good chances to win football games, but they won't be able to win a lot of football games because their defense is just that rough and they're that bad that they can't sustain a lead. So I went with Minnesota just for the fact that this could be a game where Darnold gets like 300 plus passing yards and like multiple touchdowns, and Justin Jefferson gets like 120 yards
Yeah.
receiving or something, and it's gonna be one of those like aired out games. All right, Browns and Chargers.
Um, I think the Browns are going to do it. I think the win last week is going to put a lot of win in our sails.
Yeah.
Winston will probably look a little more human than this game. He won't have a 300-yard game. The Chargers are a better defense. But there is a chance for them to still make some noise on offense. I think you see Chubb get active a lot more this game,
Mhm.
and I'm saying they'll win like a 23 to like 16 sort of game. Like it'll still be close, but we're at home too. It helps. So I'm saying Brownies.
Yeah, I went with the Browns too. I just think that having um Jameis Winston in that quarterback has just really refreshed the offense, and the offense look a lot better. A lot better, excuse me. Um, yeah, I just think the offense looks so much better. The defense can stay off the field and be healthy and make plays. I just think the Browns look better. I just think that the Chargers got so lucky that they played four of the worst teams in the league,
Yeah.
and they're sitting at 4-3 all pretty because they played the worst teams in the league. Or yeah, they're 4-4 or whatever, playing the worst teams in the league. I think the Browns are a lot better when they have a competent quarterback. It showed against the Ravens, and I think this is a game where we can hang 30 on the Chargers, and I think the offensive line has done a better job as well with
Yeah.
Jameis Winston in. So it's just Jameis Winston. Can he pick apart the defense in the air? So, but I also got the Browns.
Sick.
Tampa Bay and Kansas City.
Kansas City, I mean Tampa Bay, I mean they don't have really much of an offense. I mean Cade Otton went absolute the fuck off last week, which we predicted.
Yeah.
But Kansas City, I mean they're at home. I feel bad for Baker, man. I really
Hmm.
do. But Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City because they don't have Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, and
Yeah.
Bucky Irving and Cade Otton can't be the only two getting things going. So luckily, one of my guys in the one league I'm in was dumb enough to trade me for Cade Otton for like Devin Singletary or whatever, and
Oh.
I was able to scapegoat this idiot,
Ah.
and now I have the best side in the league.
well,
Guys,
and
a
well,
guy's
and
gonna
you
get
gave
12 carries.
right. Well, and you gave him uh a running back that's not even really getting reps anymore. Like that Tracy kid has been going off for me for the
Yeah,
Giants. So
he's not even getting reps anymore. I forget the trade. I'll have to go look back at it, but it was some stupid. I was like, dude,
that's
you
funny.
you just gave me a free fucking player.
Oh yeah,
Thanks.
that's great.
Um. Oh, so the trade was Nico Collins and Kincaid, and I got Pittman, Pacheco, McConkey, and K. Dot.
God, yeah, you got a list of fucking people. Holy shit.
For Nico Collins and Kincaid,
Yeah.
I got a guy who's going to come back next week for Kansas City. He's going to be a top running back. I got Michael Pittman, who's going to excel now that he has Joe Flacco being the quarterback. I got Mike McConkey, who's been excelling
Went
as of
off
late.
last week. I know he had 111 yards last week and a touchdown. Oh, actually, no, I think he had two. So he balled out last week. So
Oh wait, no, did I get Kate Otten through? I thought I got Kate Otten through the trade. I think I just got him off of waivers.
that's funny. Maybe
No,
that's
no,
even
I
more
got him.
funny.
I got him through trade. I got him through trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was for nothing. So
Hell yeah.
easy work.
Easy work. All right, final game.
Final game: Giants and Commandos.
Commanders. I mean, they just came off a really big win, and the Giants are still kind of ass. Danny Dimes is more like Penny Dimes. He's just not. He's not. He's not doing much, and I know it's pissing off guys like Malik. And
Yeah.
the only thing that they've really been able to do is run the ball. With that Tracy kid. But other than that, the Giants really aren't doing much. Yeah, Washington all day.
Yeah, no, give me the Washington Commanders all day. Jaden Daniels is back. Obviously, he's limited due to a rib injury, but even being limited with a rib injury, he still showed out, still balled out. That's all. Even if Marcus Mariota started, I think they're just too good for the Giants. Their defense is good.
Yeah.
Their offense just needs, again, a competent quarterback, and
They're
Mariota just has to make easy throws. And
Yeah.
that Giants defense is so bad that it doesn't need Jaden Daniels, but
Washington has gotten really lucky with this schedule to start out with, man.
Yeah.
They really have. Like they've played some really bad teams, including us when we were, not playing well at all. They beat us 34-3. I mean, so Washington is no slouch on offense. They can score. They slowed down a little bit, but they just find ways to win. I think Dan Quinn has just gotten them in the right my mindset. But we kind of agreed on a lot of our picks this week. We really only had like one or two differences.
Yeah.
Which was tonight's game and then the Vikings game.
Yep.
Really. So we'll see if it benefited the both of us or if we're both going to suck next week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I really don't have too much more. Again, Browns have a chance to win this week. Vibes are a lot better, and I think that's going to make a difference. And then hopefully the Cavs continue to roll. So other than that, I really don't have anything else to say. Andrew, you got anything before we log off?
No, man. Go Browns. Go Cavs.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. As always, we will see you guys next week. And remember, we're just BSing. Do not take us seriously. We'll see you guys next week.